we talked about Donovan Peoples-Jones, obviously made an impact, outperformed his selection last year, selected in round 6. Who are some other, rookies this year that you think could maybe outperform their selection? I know that, you talked about Richard LeCounte, who was selected in round 5, as well as, Demetric Felton, who was selected out of UCLA in round 6.
So many of these guys are intriguing. I mean, you've got Tony Fields, the linebacker. He's sort of just a little version of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. You've got like almost another one of him in Tony Fields. So he's somebody to keep an eye on. And then I think we're all a little bit intrigued by Demetric Felton, who was drafted in the 6th round. He's somebody that can play wide receiver or running back. They have him slated so far as a running back, and he can also return kicks. So he's somebody to keep an eye on because, one of the biggest keys to this Kevin Stefanski offense is to sort of marry the run and the pass, to create ambiguity. You don't want the defense to know until very late that it's a run or a pass. And when you've got a guy like Demetric Felton in the same mold of, the same way that Kareem Hunt can, you don't know if they're going to, catch it out of the backfield, split wide, or do all the different things that they can do. So I think that he will come in handy, and I think they will find something for him to do fairly early on.
Now, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, he was somebody who was listed as very versatile. You mentioned Tony Fields, somebody basically like a mini JOK, that type of role as well. And Felton, as somebody who obviously can play wide receiver, can play running back, it seemed like versatility was the big buzzword, at least coming out from Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski this year. What were your thoughts on the versatile aspect of the Browns draft that they ran with this year?
Yeah, they are so big on that. I mean, it's one of the things that if you can play multiple positions and if you can help confuse the situation, they love that. I mean, they want a quarterback to look out and really not know exactly what's going on out there. They want to create just a lot of confusion in the minds of the offense and vice versa. They want you to think that they're going to pass and they run it and vice versa there. So if you can do those different positions, then you will become valuable. Another reason why that's so important is because they have 17 games this year, and then they hope to play 3 or 4 more games. So if they do all of that, you're going to need every single one of those guys. And with injuries and with COVID-19, we don't know where all that's going in terms of being able to stay on the field for 17 games and more. It's imperative to have players that can play multiple positions and do so many different things for you.
Now, with Felton, I will say, he had the pro day numbers that seemed lackluster, but you look at the tape on the guy, and he is just electric, a highlight reel player. I mean, even in one game, had a 100-yard kick return for a touchdown and followed that up with a 94-yard catch. It seemed like it was more focused on tape rather than necessarily the testing that we saw this year. Is that something that you think that they were kind of looking at this year with more question marks, across the board with the way the process played out due to, no combine and, more uncertainty when it came to pro days?
Yeah, I think so. But as you mentioned, they really focused on the film, and they really relied on the film and what they saw with their own 2 eyes when they went to games and things like that. And although measurables and traits were vitally important, they weren't completely hung up on them. And here's an example of that. JOK, he did not run a 40 at his pro day. And there's some thought that he could have turned in a 4.65 or something like that. And that, that's not like a Micah Parsons who's going to run, a lightning quick 40 for you at linebacker. And, that might be why he didn't run it, but that did not dissuade the Browns at all. They were so excited about him. They were thrilled to get him. And that 40 time was not going to deter them either way. And so that was the key.